Former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte has been arrested on an international criminal court warrant for crimes against humanity. He was taken into custody at Manila Airport on returning from Hong Kong. The ICC has been investigating the mass killings that happened during Duterte's crackdown against illegal drugs. Duterte insists he was not responsible for any unlawful deaths during his 8-year presidency, which began in 2016. But ICC prosecutors estimate the death toll at between 12 and 30,000. To get more on this, we're joined now by Bryony in Bangkok. She's Deputy Asia Director at Human Rights Watch. Let me ask you, first of all, what do you make of Duterte's arrest and why now?
Thanks so much for having me, Terry. I think the arrest today is very significant. It's an important step forward for accountability for all of the victims and their families of the so-called war on drugs in the Philippines. In terms of the timing, the ICC has been looking into the situation in the Philippines since 2018. So we're already 7 years into its efforts to compile evidence to show that Duterte is responsible for crimes against humanity in the Philippines. So there's been a lot of effort that has been put into gathering the evidence to show that Duterte is allegedly responsible for these crimes. And the judges in the ICC clearly believe that the prosecutor had amassed sufficient evidence to go ahead and issue this warrant leading to his arrest today.
Can you explain to us very briefly what happened in Duterte's war on drugs that led to this arrest?
Sure. So Duterte became the president of the Philippines in 2016, and he, even during his electoral campaign, he pledged repeatedly to carry out a war on drugs that eventually led to the extrajudicial killing of thousands. He made repeated comments threatening people using extremely offensive language, and once he took power in mid-2016, we saw a massive increase in killings. I mean, the range in the estimates of people who died during the war on drugs is huge. It ranges from 6,000 people, which is the Philippine police's estimate, up to 30,000. And it's, I think, also important to understand that the killings that happened following his election to the presidency in 2016 were foreshadowed by violence that unfolded over many years in the southern city of Davao, where Duterte was mayor for decades.
Now, your organization, Human Rights Watch, has been researching these cases. You concluded that police have been falsifying evidence to justify unlawful killings. How likely is it that the police in the Philippines will now start cooperating in this case?
Well, it's certainly a striking turn of events to see Philippine National Police arresting Duterte at the airport in Manila this morning, because it's clear that many of the killings that happened during the war on drugs were perpetrated either by police officials in uniform during so-called buy-bust operations or allegedly by police out of uniform. So it's a very significant turn of events, and we hope that this is, in fact, a catalyst for the country's current president, Ferdinand Marcos, to address the impunity within the police that allowed their involvement in such a huge campaign of mass killing during Duterte's presidency.
Now, Duterte's former presidential spokesperson has slammed the arrest, calling it unlawful as the Philippines withdrew from the ICC in 2019. Could this complicate the investigation?
The Philippines has already taken several steps previously to try to challenge the ICC's authority to investigate. So the Philippines did indeed withdraw from the court in 2018, and that took effect in 2019, which is why the court is only investigating crimes up until 2019. But the Philippines had previously also appealed the court's efforts to proceed with the investigation, and those were overturned by the court, by the by judges who considered the appeal in 2023. And they determined that indeed the ICC did still have jurisdiction over these crimes leading up to the 2019 withdrawal from the court.
Bryony, thank you very much for filling us in there. That was Bryony Lau from Human Rights Watch.
Thank you so much.
Well, Mage is a journalist who's been following this story from the beginning. She joins us now from Manila. Duterte was taken into custody on Tuesday at Manila Airport. How did this come about?
Well, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte has been arrested and is now in custody with local enforcers on charges on crimes against humanity as alleged by the International Criminal Court. He was flying in from Hong Kong to Manila this morning and was served a warrant of arrest upon his arrival, where he still remains. His allies alleged, though, of an unlawful arrest, but the Philippine government stated that the International Criminal Court, through Interpol, has requested the cooperation of police to arrest Duterte.
Now, we have seen a heavy police presence at the airport. How are Filipinos responding to the news of Duterte's arrest?
Well, the airport is heavily surrounded by police, and according to some reports, around 7,000 policemen were deployed around the area, since both supporters and those who are against the former president are anticipated to be holding rallies within the hour or in the next few days.
Now, arresting a country's former leader is quite a step. What is Duterte accused of exactly?
Well, he is being accused of crimes against humanity for his war on drugs when he was president of the Philippines in 2016, which left more than 12,000 Filipinos dead, according to a human rights organization. But the arrest also covers from when he was mayor of Davao in southern Philippines for more than 20 years.
So are we talking about illegal extrajudicial executions or what?
Yes, this is exactly what it is. It is extrajudicial killings done under the umbrella of his policy on the war on drugs.
Now, you covered Duterte's war on drugs extensively yourself. You saw much of what happened in the country during Duterte's, when Duterte was in power. What do you make of him now being arrested?
Well, personally, I think this has been a landmark moment. I covered the war on drugs for months and have seen the bodies left and right in all positions. And thinking about it, I have been having goosebumps since this morning. What it must be like for the victims and their families to come close to having a sense of justice and having to see the rule of law come to play.
Now, I understand that Duterte is currently being held at an air base. Of course, not that many details are available, but do you have any idea about where he's expected to go from there? What are the next steps in this case?
Well, this is a developing story. We are anticipating rallies and protests in the next few hours or days even. There is a call across media platforms and a support rally for former President Duterte, especially from Filipinos coming from the south of the Philippines and Davao, where he is from. We have no news yet as of now where he is going to be after he is being processed, but we will be giving updates on what happens next in the next few hours.
Ella, thank you very much for filling us in there. That was journalist Mage in Manila.
Thank you.